Hello and welcome to The Big Show. This is Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks, the dive bars of Seattle. We are interested in those roadhouses, watering holes, and tavern/watering hole pizza joints that have a long history and an interesting backstory. As always, Jeremy, this isn't on some Zoom call.
No,
we record live and on location in the places where money is lost and future regrets are made. This week, we are at the Northlake Tavern Pizza House, located on the north side of Lake Union. This is a very special episode of Dim Lights, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, I want to introduce the crew. Thank you to the house band, Satan's Pilgrims, for bringing us in on that awesome wave of surf. As always, this is a Bob Trombley production.
Hey now.
Producer Supreme Bob Trombley is here. To my left is resident Suds Gourmand Jeremy.
MC Pitcher this evening. Yeah, we're going to
Very
talk about
appropriate.
We're going to talk about why that is.
Across from me is resident historian Brad.
Hello, everybody.
Nice. I'm Sweet Lou, and I'm thrilled to be here at Northlake Tavern because this is the home stretch for them. You might have seen the article in the Seattle Times announcing that after 70 years of serving delicious pies and pouring libations, the owner Abdullah will be retiring and closing the doors on January 31st, which will mark the last day before the tavern vanishes for good. See what I did there, Cynthia? That voice you just heard is our very special guest this week, Cynthia Brothers from Vanishing Seattle. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome aboard for sure. Glad to have you aboard.
Yes, and you two cross paths in your work as authors and chroniclers. So
we go way back. In fact, the origins of this podcast here kind of start with what you and I were doing, because pre-COVID, back in the day, we were arranging monthly meetups at different drinking establishments. And we did that, for like a couple years maybe? Yeah. Jules Mays, Andy's Diner.
But like fools, you didn't record yourselves, so millions of hours of content wasted.
Yeah. It was a wasted opportunity, but it was kind of like helped germinate the idea when we were talking about our podcast. So yeah. Came full circle.
And yeah, it's true. Dim Lights and Vanishing Seattle kind of play in the same sandbox. So most of our listeners already know all about it, but there's always that one person. So tell our listener what Vanishing Seattle is.
Yes, our mutual affinity for dive bars. Put us all together.
Yep.
Vanishing Seattle, it's a project that started in 2016, so coming up on the 7-year anniversary next week. And basically, I document the disappearing and displaced spaces, small businesses, communities of Seattle, but also on the flip side, try to celebrate the places and cultures that make Seattle special. So, post on Instagram, social media, and also film series.
And so, thank you for coming again, because this is the perfect place to have Vanishing Seattle on the last few nights at the Northlake Tavern.
Very appropriate,
Vanishing Seattle, but yet you keep the spirit of Seattle alive.
That's true. And it's not just the obituaries column. You also give shout-outs to those places that we're surprised haven't vanished yet. Like I saw you mentioned Gargoyles.
Yeah, Gargoyles, that's around the app. Also some not vanishing, so, it's open other spots you can go and support, places that are not, we're not like totally vanishing.
Yeah.
And it's a great tie into what we talk about in the episodes every couple of weeks here too, because a lot of places we go to, we're like, how is this place even still around? How does this dive bar still exist in this day and age? And thank God that they do, but some of these places, we're just counting the days, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially like Gargoyles is a perfect example. Like, describe Gargoyles to someone who's never seen it.
Yeah, well, it's been around since 1992. It's one of these places that's like only in Seattle or only on the app. It's kind of the place that every goth adjacent Seattle has been to. Yeah, it just kind of harkens back to a time of like 90s app when it was sponsored by app rats and just like
lots of cool record stores and stuff.
Lots of cool like thrift shops. They kind of have a cult following. It's probably full of statues, gargoyles, everything kind of mystical.
Little dragons, crystals, skulls.
Yeah.
So it's
great.
It's one of those Seattle institutions where you go in, you're like, okay, this place is pretty cool, and even if it's not your thing, maybe you don't think twice about it, but go to any other major city and you're not going to see something quite like that,
No.
right? It's something that's just, it's a cool, unique institution
Yeah.
here in the Seattle that you just, you're not going to find that same flavor anywhere else.
Yeah.
If it's not your personal bag, like, glad bag it has.
And if it is your
But-
bag, then oh my god.
Yeah. Then you struck the mother
This is
lode.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Got some gargoyle bookcase ends, and you
Yep.
got the door knocker that's a little devil.
Classic.
Yep.
Yes. All right, so Brad, let's start talking about the scene here today. This is pretty cool. Since this article came out, there have been lines down the block to get in. And
As we
it's
witnessed
been
tonight.
Yeah,
down the
today's no
street
different.
from open till close, and first come, first serve, no reservations, and no takeout. The phones are turned off. If you need to get a hold of someone here, you got to jump in the car.
Yeah, they are swamped here, to say the least.
And so, yeah, it's like Studio 54 outside. Just piles of cocaine.
Piles of Parmesan.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Cynthia's a pretty big wheel in this town, though, so we got to skip the line. We just
Yeah.
walk by all these people glaring at us.
I try to make eye contact.
I've been standing here for 2 hours. So shout out and thank you to the manager, Jessica, and the new manager, Melissa.
Big thank
Mario's
you,
is
yeah.
coming in here. Thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
for
you.
getting us a table reserved at the back. We couldn't be happier. So, Brad, when we talked about it, we said this might be a mini episode because it might be more of a pizza joint than a
Yeah.
bar, and the
Yeah.
neighborhood is kind of a tweener. There's nothing really here, but it turns out this bar has some grit under its fingernails and some
It does.
criminal activity. Why don't you tell us the history of the place?
Well, yeah, so the Northlake Tavern advertises itself as being in operation since 1953, meaning this year would be its 70th anniversary. But it actually first opened in 1934, almost 2 decades prior. And I see this a lot at different places where some of these dive bars and stuff, they shortchange themselves as far as how long they've been open. I think what they do is they'll just kind of base on when a certain owner took over ownership, and then that's
Or
when
the
they start the
locations
clock.
move, right?
Or the locations moved,
right, yeah.
including this one, as we're going to get into.
Literally moving the building down the street in some cases.
In some cases, yeah.
And Little Red Hen was one that moved,
Was
right?
it?
Yeah,
The
from
water
Green
wheel
Lake.
was
Water
one.
wheel from Finney to Green Lake.
Shanty,
Shanty,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's been a few.
Nice.
Anyway, so this first opened in 1934. Its original owner was Hazel Miller. And Cynthia, this is something we've noticed since we've been doing the show, is that a huge amount of early taverns that opened in the 30s and 40s were female owned. And we've often speculated like what contributes to that, because it's kind of a surprising for given the time era, but a huge number of them were female owned, including this
Large,
one
yeah.
when it first opened. So yeah, Hazel Miller was the original owner. In 1953, Herb and Evelyn Friedman purchased the tavern and would run it for the next 35 years. Apparently, when they purchased it, they were the 5th owner of the tavern. So there were, 4 previous owners before them, starting with this Hazel Miller.
Good math. Good math.
Yeah. As far as Herb goes, apparently he was from Brooklyn, and he apparently sounded just like Rodney Dangerfield. So when he
No
was still
respect.
alive, that's the accounts you would hear in the newspapers, is that when they were talking about him, they commented on how much he sounded like Rodney Dangerfield.
Hey ho! I gotta tell you,
I don't get no respect.
I tell you, it's rough,
Yeah.
you know?
But yeah, he grew up in Brooklyn. He served in the Navy during World War II. Then he became a merchant marine until 1950, when he landed in Seattle and met Evelyn, his soon-to-be wife and business partner. When the Friedmans purchased the tavern, it originally sat further east of here, basically where the Ship Canal Bridge now sits. So that's the original location of this place, of the Northlake Tavern. But in
talking about East Lake
1959,
Bridge.
what's that?
East Lake Bridge.
No, the Ship Canal Bridge. Yeah.
Who's looking stupid for those
There's-
people
there's
who
more
aren't
than-
on the Zoom?
There's more than one bridge here in Seattle.
Remind
Yeah,
me, which
it's
is the Ship
shocking,
Canal?
but, yeah.
I'm gonna feel.
Well, that's the
stupid when
one you
tell
go
me.
over when you're on I-5. It was part of the I-5
That's
project.
the Ship Canal Bridge?
That's the Ship Canal Bridge. And in fact,
I just call it
that's why
I-5.
they moved, because around that time, that's when they were starting the construction process of I-5.
Oh, they were right under it when they were building
the
it.
Ship
Yeah, we
Canal
gotta
Bridge
move.
was built
Tomorrow.
in 1961 as part of the I-5 construction project. So that's what prompted their move. But yeah, I guess the I-5 project, it displaced a lot of buildings and homes. And it was a matter of eminent domain. Like once they charted the course of the freeway, they basically, if your house was in the path, you'd get a knock on the door, and some guy would be sitting there with a check and be like, "Hey,
You got
we're
30
building
days."
the freeway, and you got like a year or whatever to get out of here. But here's a check."
Ouch.
I understand. Usually, it was a generous check that they gave people, but you didn't have a choice.
Probably
Here's your
not all the
consolation
time.
prize.
Yeah.
Value.
Yeah.
Side note, the Winwood Museum with our upcoming exhibit this year, that's about the transit anniversary district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Displaced a lot.
And lots of people making analogies to what's going on with the light rail and the expansion there. Like,
Yeah.
people are getting pissed off. That eminent domain really ruffles some feathers.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And apparently the interesting thing is, so once they purchased these homes, they would then put them up for auction, I guess maybe to recoup some of the cost. And apparently these auctions were really popular because you could go and you could get a really nice house for pennies on the dollar. But the catch, of course, was that it was up to you to move that house out of the way before construction began. So that's why you could get it for
And you
so
had
cheap.
to personally evict the person who was living there.
Well, they
currently.
were already gone apparently by that point. But
Wow,
so
what
a
a
lot of
gimmick.
people bought these homes and then relocated them to different areas throughout Seattle. And in fact, in my neighborhood, 2 houses down from me, sits one of these I-5 homes that were moved from the I-5 project.
Oh, they were like, I'm getting far the fuck away from I-5.
Yeah.
I'm going to Edmonds.
But there's several homes throughout
Never
Seattle.
find me here.
Yeah. But I always thought it'd be kind of a cool project to map out these I-5 homes throughout the Seattle region. Because
Where
apparently
are they
there's a
now?
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the house in my neighborhood, like, you would never be able to tell it wasn't originally built there. It doesn't, like, it blends in. It looks like all the other houses. But yeah.
You'd never guess it was a mobile home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was literally a mobile home at one point.
Nice.
So anyway, back to the tavern. The Friedmans moved the tavern here to its current location, and again in either late 1959, early 1960, somewhere in that time range. This was also the year that they decided to start selling pizza. So Herb knew that he needed something unique to kind of stand out from the other taverns. He's from Brooklyn, pizza's
Hey,
a
I'm
thing
from
there.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. Pizza
I-
joints probably weren't on every neighborhood, 2 or 3 of them back then, right?
In Brooklyn, maybe, but not here.
Or yeah, but in Seattle, there wasn't like it is now, where you can't
No.
throw a rock without hitting pizza.
Yeah, but back then in Seattle, there was pizza, but you pretty much had to go to like an Italian restaurant if you wanted to order pizza.
The garlic
there were
pork.
no like Pizza Huts or anything like that. So he started selling pizza. So he was the first one to start selling pizza in Seattle outside of like the Italian restaurants and make it a thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And now, you kind of take it for granted. If you go to a bar that happens to sell food and you pick up their menu and you see pizza, there's nothing shocking about it. But back then, he was the first one to kind of kick this off. In fact, it was such a new concept that it immediately didn't take off. So when he first started selling pizza,
What the fuck is that round
Yeah.
thing you're serving? Looks like a
well,
car
apparently
tire.
he was only selling like 1 or 2 a day. So it was really slow going. But within a few years, word got out, and then people started coming here. And
Hey, this is actually pretty good.
Goes well with
not
beer.
too bad. Yeah, it goes well with beer.
Goes well over there, yeah.
And apparently they were selling 1,500 pizzas a week within a couple years.
Ooh,
which
that's
was
a lot
big
of
deal back
za.
then. Yeah, it's a lot of za. So this is our first time here. Cynthia, you said you've tried the pizza before, but I don't think... have you guys tried the pizza before?
No,
You have?
I
Okay.
have not. I might be
have
the only
not
virgin
either.
at the table, and
Yes.
we might have to pause here in a second and place an order and get some pizza and come back for
Yeah.
round 2.
Yeah.
But this time, round 2 with some za.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I hear it's good. Yeah.
6 pounder.
Go big or go
Yeah.
home.
Describe the
think we're
pizza
gonna
to
be
someone who's also never been here.
Well, it's basically like what I've heard described as a casserole with a crust. So very
Ton
thick
of
crust.
toppings.
Yes, so many ingredients. It's kind of hard to see where it begins and ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it's a pie.
A la Chicago
Not
almost?
like a
or-
pie. It's a pie.
I like a pizza where you can't see where it begins and ends, and I like a beer glass where you can't see where it starts and empties.
Kind of like an
Yeah.
infinity pool, but beer and pizza.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An infinity pool full of beer.
Where's Homer Simpson
Yeah.
when you need him?
So anyway, during the Friedmans' reign as the owners, there was a decent crime story. This is
As
something
there
else-
almost always is.
We don't have any
Yeah.
crime stories?
What's that?
You have one crime story, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I have a decent one.
Yeah.
This one isn't like going to win any awards as far as the ones we've covered.
Are you going to say it now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, Brad, but
That's all
Satan's
right.
Pilgrims has been working on a theme song for a new segment we got called Brad's Police Blotter. Satan's, hit me.
Oh, my God.
That's going to be some crimes.
So, Cynthia, before I get into the story, so we've also learned that a lot of these taverns, like one of the ways they've kind of earned their stripes is being like a legit dive bar is they usually got either robbed or burglarized one, two, several times, usually back in the 50s and 60s.
Or they burglarized or robbed somebody else.
Yeah, that too. But there's some crime involved. And this one in 1976, so a burglar apparently snuck upstairs when the place was open, because there's an upstairs office, found some place to hide, hid several hours until everyone left, and then just went downstairs and like ripped the place off.
Case
Kind of
de
glitch
joint.
style. Yeah, took all the cash, got a bunch of other stuff, and
I've
exit
always
stage
thought
left.
about how easy that would be.
It
Just
makes you
camp
wonder.
out, like when you've worked retail or in a restaurant, you're not looking under every table when you close out.
Right, you're tired.
Yeah,
These people just want to go home. They're not like checking every corner and
exactly.
yeah.
Anybody hiding under here? No.
So I don't know. Would you call that like a cat burglar style or
Yeah,
kind of cat burglarish?
I mean, it reminds me of the
More like,
Baron,
more like lazy stealth.
Lazy stealth. Okay.
the Baronoff slightly when they break in during the entrance, but then
That's right,
he
that's
didn't
right.
break
Yeah.
out. He
Yeah.
stayed around. So
You
stayed
gotta
around.
wonder, like, these thieving stories, surely this probably one person that's hit a couple of these joints we've been to. Right?
sure.
Like some of the,
I'm sure.
There's some,
Yeah.
there's some commonalities
Right,
here.
Yeah.
Little suspicious.
Little suspicious
Yeah.
time period.
We need to
aligns.
open up these cold cases.
Well, in 1973, the tavern underwent a $40,000 remodeling project. And I sent you guys pictures of kind of like the conceptual drawing when they were doing this. It's very 1970s looking,
totally.
What, you
it's
mean like green
1970s
couches
modernism.
and
Yeah,
greens and browns? And
lots of greens and browns and
So to give you a perspective, if you were
Fort
to
Granada
do a
Park out front.
$40,000 remodel now, that would get you maybe a couple of chairs and a mirror on the
Yeah.
wall. Yeah.
it went pretty
Yeah.
far in the 70s though.
Okay,
So
good.
they got
Yeah.
an
You could do
entirely
a
new
You could do a
facade.
bathroom.
Yeah, so it went from looking like an old school
I could do
dive
it for
bar.
40 grand. Call me.
What's that?
I said I'd do it for 40 grand. Call me, listeners.
Lou's interior design. Crazy Lou.
You'd be one of those contractors that wants all the money up front, and then he'd be like, "See ya."
Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, this will be beautiful.
So they got a whole new facade out front. It's very 1970s modern looking. It has a very 1970s pizza parlor look to it. Here inside, the walls have a series of original framed art by local political cartoonist David Horsey, which I love. And I'm pretty sure he did this when they did the remodel. So these are from the original 70s remodel. And a lot of them have like pizza-themed ideas behind them.
Well, yeah, all of them are written for it, I think, because this
Yeah.
says, hey, we just passed the finish line. Can we stop? It's a rowing crew. And going under the... Which bridge?
The Ship
Jeremy?
Canal Bridge.
Canal
Canal.
Bridge, that's right.
And so, hey,
very
we passed
relevant.
the finish line. Can we stop? Not until we get to the Northlake. And the other one's the UW football team, and it says, I'll fake to the left while you go long, cut, run at the right 20 yards, run into the locker room, and get on the phone and order us Northlake pizza.
Yeah, and they all have like kind of pizza themes like this. So these were part of the original renovation.
Hey, Lou, you mentioned Studio 54 earlier. This definitely has that 70s vibe going on. You got these like crooked diagonal mirrors and stuff. But the cartoons really make the place. It's
It really does.
It's really quite a standout.
Gives it its
for the-
personality.
yeah, quite a standout.
And for those that don't know, David Horsey was a local political cartoonist. He drew for the Seattle PI from the 70s until they folded, which is when 2011, I believe, is when the PI folded, somewhere around there.
Been published in the Atlantic. Well,
In the
some other
Atlantic.
He got picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still going. He's still alive. Yeah, he's still making cartoons. I think he draws for the Associated Press now, maybe. Different. And he went to the UW. Yeah.
UW connection to this.
Purple and gold.
So it just gives it a cool kind of personal touch in here.
So he probably, when he was going to school, used to come down here and get pizza and beers, and
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
that's
I'm
absolutely
sure.
why.
Probably free pizza and beer for life for this.
Oh yeah.
So the Friedmans ran this place for a total of 34 years before selling it to a guy by the name of Mark Berkovich in 1987. He ran it for the next decade. He passed away in 1997, at which point his daughter Cheryl then took over ownership, and she ran it until 2017 when she sold it to its current owner, Abdullah.
Got to meet Abdullah last night.
Did you?
Yeah,
I hear he's like a really nice guy.
he is. He's got a glow, definitely.
He's what?
He's got the glow. Yeah.
He's got the glow?
Yeah, for sure.
He's looking forward to
I'm
retirement.
just about to retire, Glow. yeah. I would too.
The cool thing about Abdullah, so he started working here in 1981, and he started at the very bottom. I don't know if he was the
Washing
dishwasher,
dishes.
washing
Yeah.
dishes, prep cook,
Yeah.
and I guess he personally trained under Herb as far as how to make pizzas and eventually make pizzas in the kitchen, and he just kind of worked his way up until he became the owner.
And then he bought it from her.
And then he
when she
bought it.
retired.
Yeah. So it's a cool story, kind of working your way up to the very top.
That's awesome. And that's what's also cool about this place is it's not a construction casualty or a development casualty. It's he's just
Gentrification
retired.
casualty.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just retiring.
Yeah.
He's just retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one assholed him out of here, like you keep hearing about. No, he
Fowler
was.
dies him out of here.
Yeah.
Although
No.
this plot would make some sweet condos, I gotta say. I mean,
Shut up, Jeremy.
easy I-5 access. Come on.
Sadly, a few weeks ago, Abdullah announced on the Northlake's Facebook page that he is retiring due to health reasons and would be selling the place to local pizza chain Big Mario's. His announcement made clear that the Northlake's last day, as you mentioned earlier, Lou, would be January 31st next week. So basically
That's
5
right.
days from now. Have you guys ever eaten
Let's
at
do
Big
the math.
Mario's?
Yes.
What's the last day's
And
probably
you like
Sunday,
it?
right?
Yeah. I remember when it first came to Capitol Hill
Tuesday.
a few years ago, and it was a big hit.
All right.
Now
Yeah.
they have one in Queen Anne as well. Yeah, they have a couple of them
Yeah.
now.
Yes, three in
Three?
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 Seattle. And Cynthia, you said you've had it before, right?
Yeah.
And they make pretty good pizza.
Great
In
pizza
good
boxes,
hands.
good logos.
In good hands. In good hands when they retire.
Well, that's what I hear. So Big Mario's plans on doing a small renovation, and then we'll reopen in March. And the good news is that they plan on keeping things relatively intact.
No, exactly intact. Everything
Although,
you see here,
it's
they're
still
replacing the carpets,
Yeah, carpet.
they're fixing
yeah,
the kitchen,
Yeah.
carpet's gone. Yeah.
cleaning the bathrooms, calling it good.
Yeah, according
Are they
to
keeping the diagonal mirrors on the wall?
Yes.
God, I hope
yeah,
so.
they're
Yes.
keeping the David Horsey art.
David
They
Horsley
better.
art,
Yeah, they'll-
everything.
Well, according to their announcement, they said our plans are to simply focus on repairs, equipment upgrades, cleaning, outdoor seating, and creating a private room for events, large parties, rentals, etc. We'll make sure that the charm of the Northlake Tavern is not lost. They added that we've been gifted several very cool Northlake pieces from Abdullah, which have not been up from some time, and they plan to showcase these alongside others in a dedicated historical display.
Cool.
And like I mentioned, they're keeping the David Horsey illustrations, which that's awesome.
I think they need a podcast recording room dedicated to us, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Definitely.
Let's submit that as a suggestion.
Nice.
I'm sure it'll be instantly accepted.
I think they're having a big send-off party for Abdullah
On the 31st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, big bash. The other cool thing about Big Mario's is that all their existing employees here from the Northlake have been asked to stick around. And I guess there's a total of 8
Sweet.
employees. One of them is retiring, but the others are staying aboard. And that's always a good
Well played.
Well played. Yeah, that's always a good move. Because you never want to just fire somebody just because you're taking over ownership. So good for them. They will.
employee that's retiring worked here for 26 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Full-time employee.
Yeah. So they've earned their stripes for retirement. Apparently, the big shift will be that they're going to go from being like a 21 and over place to an all ages venue. Hard liquor and beer will still be available, and a mass of pies will be replaced by their New York style pizza. So the pizza's changing, but not much else, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, though. Northlake Tavern and Pizza Joint, right? Like you said, with the history, this place started off essentially as a tavern.
Yeah, it was a tavern for 20 or 30 years before the pizza came in.
This could easily be a dive bar.
Oh, yeah.
Other than the fact that it's pretty big and it's got a lot of tables and lots of people eating, right? But the fact that you can look around and say it's definitely got a dive bar feel to it, which is great. It's one of the reasons why we're here.
Yeah.
Kind of started off as a tavern-ish kind of dive bar, whatever. Grabbed the pizza because it was cool and that was kind of novel at the time, and here we are now.
Here we are now. Well, and that was a good, smart move of Herb to introduce pizza in the 60s, because that's probably what kind of like saved this place and prevented it from closing, because if they hadn't sold pizza, it probably would have closed a long time ago. If it was just
it's
stayed
kind
as
of
a
in the
bar.
middle of nowhere. You're not next to anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't rely on the university students to drink beer.
Or eat pizza. So anyway, good luck to Abdullah in his retirement, and I personally hope that the new owners keep their promise as far as keeping the original and historical look of this place intact. So what do you guys think about all that?
I think you summed it up quite well. Yeah.
For sure.
This is a wonderful
for sure.
place, and I'm glad they're keeping the bones of it, and it's going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they're keeping a good thing going. I think a lot of folks like the old 70s style, pizza house vibe.
Yeah.
It's not like an upscale, pizza place by any
Right.
means.
And that's
So,
part
yeah.
of its charm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
big
So,
time.
Yeah.
As far as vanishing things go, this is got a pretty good story. I know people are going to miss the pizza, but I'm happy that we're going to post everything else intact.
I'm looking around and seeing tons of people enjoying their pizzas. I'm getting damn hungry because I
Well,
do not have a
she's
pizza in
gonna
front of
come
me, and
over-
That's a huge problem.
She's going to come over and take care of us, and she's walked by a couple times, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to interrupt him." So next time you see
Here
her,
we are
just flag
babbling
her,
away.
and we'll just stop it and
We
cut
clearly
it.
need to we need to
yeah,
get a priority
if I was
straight here,
gonna
people. Come on,
describe
we're
the
here for the
crowd-
pizza.
You said the word old, and everyone here looks like, "Oh, I had my first Northlake pizza 40 years ago. I got to go there tonight, or I got to go there before it closes." And so
Well-established local crew.
We're not bullshitting
Yeah.
when we say you're in line for 2 hours.
Oh, there's a huge line out front when we got here. Yeah.
And if you show here
The neighborhood came out for
up
sure.
after
Yeah.
4:30, you might not get in and stand in line for an hour and a half. So it's
Yeah.
that kind of party.
Yeah.
But Melissa was telling me a story about
Yeah, and that's an important point. This isn't like a donut shop or something where everybody's like, "Oh, I heard they're really good. I'm gonna come." No. This is like the neighborhood came out to support this business because they were you're looking around and it's the locals. This is people who've been coming here for 40 plus years, eating the pizza and drinking the beer, which is fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Which is
Yep.
good to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is good to see.
I feel
There
like you used to
was-
see that maybe more old school Seattle. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like
old is old school.
Oh, hell.
Seattle. It's
That's
straight up.
emphasis on
People are
old.
wearing their stocking caps inside. This guy's
Watch yourself,
got his
Blue Dog.
North Face puffy coat inside. All hats.
I heard you just
all
got
layers.
bifocals.
Kind of judgy there, Lou.
I'm not judging. It's what I look like. Layers.
Looking in the mirror.
So Seattle. So typically Seattle.
Exactly. So, and she said one cool story was that one woman came in here. She's retired in Arizona, and it popped up on her Facebook, and she was like, "Oh, flew back here to get a Northlake pizza a couple nights ago."
I heard Oprah did that too. Yeah.
Oprah was here.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
She had it flown. She had a couple of
Yeah,
pies.
she flew
personally
in
flown over
to get a pizza and then
Atlanta.
flew out again. Yeah.
So, Jeremy, you're totally not prepared. But why don't you tell us what you drinking tonight? What are we drinking?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I was thinking, we oftentimes we take a break and we come back for what you drinking, right? But I think this time, considering where we are in the history, let's take a break and come back for what you eating.
Okay.
Yeah, we can
sounds
talk about what
good.
you're drinking because there's actually some pretty interesting shit about what you're drinking. But even more important is what we're eating.
In other words, Jeremy's hungry and he wants some pizza.
Hell yeah! I think I've made that perfectly clear.
All right, then you guys want to take a break, come back for round 2?
Let's do it.
All right, Saints Pilgrims, take us out. All right, Satan's Pilgrims, thank you for bringing us back in on that awesome wave of Wicked Surf. Jeremy, you had a chance to go look at the tap handles. What's on tap tonight? Give us a tap report.
It occurred to me that what we're drinking tonight is something a little unusual for the podcast, but not unusual, right? In the fact that this is the first time in 2+ seasons where we are drinking a pitcher of beer.
This is true.
Which boggles my fucking mind, right?
We're suckers. Like, why are we paying all this money for?
Right. All goddamn bars we've been to over the last couple of years, right? This is the first time we're having a pitcher of beer. Well, actually, our second pitcher of beer because we're having a good time, right? But it just I can't fathom, thinking back to 20+ episodes, why the hell we haven't been drinking up.
Every show should have been a pitcher.
Every show should have been a pitcher,
Yeah.
but no, this is our first pitcher, and our first pitcher before that we just killed a couple of minutes ago was Manny's Pale Ale.
Yep.
A staple among dive bars, but also a staple among pizza joints around Seattle too.
Yeah.
Right. We have been on tap with just about every dive bar we've been to.
Yes, Georgetown
Now-
has carpeted the joint.
Absolutely.
You can't go to a bar without seeing
Now we
it.
are on pitcher numero dos, which is Mac and Jack's African Amber. Another one that's like not quite as popular as Manny's, but still very well or very easily found in dive bars around Seattle.
It's not
Delicious
as
beer.
ubiquitous as it once was.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They came on the scene, early 2000s, mid 2000s. Got
For a while, you saw it everywhere.
hot everywhere. Oh yeah, everywhere. And then kind
Cynthia,
of cooled off a little
Mac
bit.
and Jack? You like it? You don't like it? Oh, you do. Yeah. We should,
So it's pretty easy what you're drinking since we're all drinking for the same goddamn pitcher. But I just think that it just blows my mind. This is our first pitcher after 2+ seasons of dive bar episodes.
And what did you
What
say
the hell's wrong
when
with
you,
us?
went and looked at the tap handles tonight?
Oh, I don't know. well, they have about 12 taps,
And
which
how
is
many
nice.
are functional?
Exactly. There's little. It's so cute. We got to take a picture of this, post it on the Instagram page, right? There's little brown paper bags over the taps to tell which ones are like kegged out. They kill the keg, whatever.
They're getting ready to close things out.
Yeah, about half of them have got the little paper bags over the tap handles, which is just adorable. It's just adorable.
Nice.
As long as we get a little bit of Manny's, a little bit of Mac and Jack's in the pitcher, we're happy. Yeah.
I think they do just have beer and wine, but when Big Mario's takes over, they're going to start selling hard liquor. So
There's no liquor back there?
I don't think
didn't
so.
notice.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, not a full bar. I
don't see anyone cocktails.
Some
Yeah.
full tabs back there, but
Yeah, I think it's just beer and wine.
not full liquor.
Jeremy, there's also what are you smoking here? Because what is in this bar that I haven't seen
Oh
yet?
my God! Yeah, for sure. Just to the right of us is an old school, got to be from the 70s,
Yeah,
cigarette
that's
machine.
what it looks like to me.
Literally,
Is it
like
stock?
put in your 50 cents or however, pull the big ass handle, ka-chunk, and get a pack of Marlboros or something, and
Yeah.
no longer functioning, unfortunately. Kind of sad, but pretty cool that it's actually still there and you could go and spill your beer on it.
When I was in high school, I used to smoke in high school, and that's how we got our cigarettes. There were still cigarette machines around, so we'd go to the local bowling alley or whatever and cha-chunk. Like, I think it was $1 a pack back then.
Oh, so it's not monitor? It's not behind the...
It wasn't back then, at least when
You
we were
could
in high
sneak
school.
over there and...
Yeah, you used to be able to
Yeah.
go into like a drugstore and put in your 50
Yeah.
cents.
Corner
There wasn't
store.
there's no employees wandering around. Go, sir, I'm going to need to see your ID.
No, we never ran into that.
It was my
Wasn't
note from my
QFC.
mom.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, your parents are like, hey, son, go into the Safeway and get daddy some smokes.
Yeah.
Be a good boy.
We can also do a really quick what you listen to, Jeremy.
Well, what are we? It's funny.
This bar has touch tunes, and so you can pull it up on the app and see what's playing and what's popular here.
Pretty noisy joint. Probably can hear like lots of boisterous activity going on around us here. The place is pretty packed, like we talked about. Line to get in the door. It's a few empty tables, which is kind of weird considering that there's people who've been waiting outside for 3 hours to get in.
Well,
But-
yeah, it is kind of a capacity thing. Like, we can
Yeah.
seat you, but we can't serve you if it's full.
Yeah, very limited crew. But
Yeah.
the good old Touch Tunes machine, another ubiquitous dive bar. I would say probably about like 50% of the dive bars we hit have one of these Touch Tunes machines on the wall. Very
Yeah.
popular these days. You can pull up the app, see what's playing. And Lou, you've got the app open. What kind of shit we've been listening to over the last 3+ months at Northlake?
Well, if you like the blues, If you got the blues, this is a place to be.
Yes?
Yeah. Otis Rush, I Can't Quit You, Baby. These are the hot songs. You can look them up. Albert King, Born Under a Bad Sign. Scott H. Bryan, Still Drunk. Is that a good country song or what?
Why, yes, I am.
Who wants to know?
Denise Leslie, Down Home Blues. Anders Osborne, Mind of a Junkie.
That's a good one.
Tommy Castro, Sex Machine. Tedeschi Trucks, Jimmy Vaughn, Big Mama Thornton. You get the gist of it. Blues.
Why do you think so much blues is played here? What about this place?
Yeah, that's a great question,
You know?
because definitely a different mix than we typically see in the dive bars that we have hacked into their music machines, right?
Usually you see like classic rock and country.
Right.
You see some blues, but this one is like very blues heavy. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Totally.
Maybe.
And a little bit of rockabilly tinge going on in there too, huh?
Some
Yeah.
pizza and some BB King.
And I know how it happens is because there's a couple regulars, and it's just 2 or 3 guys.
And they work it. They work
Yeah,
them.
this jukebox when they come in every day.
There's only like 2 people who are willing to fork out $1.50 a play.
Or maybe a couple employees are like total blues heads and they just
Yes, that's probably it.
and they just take over. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe Abdullah's a blues guy.
It could be a blues.
Could
Yeah,
be.
we- yeah.
Could be.
I got
He's from
to
that
meet him
era.
last night, though. He didn't look like he had the blues. He was all bright-eyed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you never know. Closeted blues guy.
Well, this pizza is, you might guess, is there's no fire here. They're all harried. They've been working their ass off.
Yeah.
Pizza's,
Yeah, it's busier than hell. It's the
This is
last
no
few
place
days of the
to go
joint.
full
We'll give
Karen.
them a pass. We'll give them a pass.
Yeah.
And they
their nerves are frayed.
They kept us happy with the pictures coming. So God bless them.
All right. Well, I'm just going to get into where are we at. We're at Northlake.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Lou, where are we at?
We're in Northlake, baby. We are across the street from Lake Union. Across the street from us is a boat dealership, and there's some place to park your boat. Off to that.
Also, if you've ever had your car towed in Seattle, you might be familiar with this part of town. Wah, 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 wah.
Bob, tell
Is
us.
there a big tow yard?
You've gotten towed here?
Yeah.
Right behind Vula's. Right behind.
Oh, because, spoiler alert, there's a tow yard right next to us.
Yeah. I had my
Lincoln
boat.
Towing. Thank you.
I had my boat towed. Yeah, it was
Much to
terrible.
all our chagrin. Yeah.
I was very careful about where I parked tonight.
So,
Yeah.
this is where a cop would come and be like, oh, I can have someone towed in 5 minutes here.
Literally.
Yeah.
Lincoln Towing, known
Maybe-
for their tow trucks
Maybe
around
that's
town with
that's
the
why
big,
there's so many blues
big
songs.
Christian cross.
How much is it to get your car once it's towed? How to get it out now? It must be a decent
Couple
chunk.
Hondas,
I
three,
remember
three maybe.
Steve had one in the
3 or
90s,
4.
and it was $175. Cynthia?
Yeah.
Oh man, I had
Bit of a
one towed
racket.
in the 90s.
Bit of a racket. Yeah.
It is a racket.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you're never prepared to like pay that either. That always sucks. Now I remember I had one in the 90s. I had this Volkswagen Bug, and I had it parked. It was on First Hill, but it was like on a slope, and I forgot to put the e-brake on, and it just drifted down into like an intersection in the middle of the night. I had no idea, so the cop showed up. They of course had it towed. I go out the next morning, and my car's gone. I don't know if it's stolen.
Who the fuck stole my car?
Yeah, and I eventually figured out it was at a tow yard, and I had to go through that whole
Wow,
rigmarole to get my
amazing.
car out, and pain in the ass.
Nice. So, Northlake is, it's not quite the U District. It's not quite Wallingford. It's a tweener. It's a place you might go only if you want to go to Ivor's Salmon House. It was across the street. Vula's Offshore Cafe, a breakfast joint that's kind of like this. Been there
good
forever.
grub. Yeah, good grub.
Good grub. What's that other joint? The taco place? Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Agua
Yeah.
Verde.
You got the
but
Shahuli's joints down the way too.
Yeah.
there
There's
you
some
go.
good eats around
there
here.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one reason to come here is because this is a good place to find street parking as close as you're going to get to Husky Stadium. If you're going to a football game,
Yep.
I always find parking here, and it's like a 15-minute walk.
Life
It's
hack.
cool because you're with a pack of other fans, and
Yeah.
so other than that,
Hop, skipping, and jump from University Avenue, like we were talking about.
so it's pretty much all maritime. But there is one cool thing that's in Northlake, Gasworks Park.
Yes.
Is in Gasworks, is in Northlake proper. Cynthia, what's Gasworks Park mean to you? Yeah.
Lots of lazy summer days, sitting on the hill,
Or were you being literal, Lou? Were you saying, like, literally, what does Gasworks mean? Why is it called Gasworks Park? Is that what you meant?
No, I was just thinking, what's your memory of Gasworks, Bob? Why do you come here? When did you come here?
High school keggers.
High school.
Oh,
keg?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get away with that shit now.
No.
For me, 4th of July fireworks. I used to live in Fremont. We would just walk down there, watch the fireworks. So
Nice.
Well, way back in the day, you remember the first, what was the first, the marijuana festival?
Oh, the Hemp Fest.
Hemp Fest, yeah. Original
yeah,
Hemp
that's
Fest
right.
was in
That's
Gasworks.
right.
Yeah,
Before I moved to Myrtle Edwards.
very easy
Yeah.
to sneak into without having to pay admission fee back in the day. That's what I remember
Yeah,
back
and
then.
also
All the
I
security
found
was
out
stoned.
it had a history as being a place for political protests too.
Oh, yeah,
well.
yeah.
So yeah,
Greenpeace had a little camp here for like a couple of weeks
For some-
when they were doing shit with the bridge.
nice.
Yeah.
So as someone who's never been here, Brad, describe Gasworks Park. Keep in mind, listener, it's never been here. It's a
Well-
park, but it's got a thing on it.
well, it used to be an old factory, like
A gas plant.
a gas plant that eventually closed, and they kept certain parts of the old gas plant still there in the park.
Yeah.
Now it's fenced off. Back in the day, you used to be able to go in there and like climb it, but I think a few
Really?
people,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
like, oh yeah, big
But
ass.
there
Like,
were,
it used to be a huge parkour place too, for that exact
Yeah.
reason. Like you could go do like extreme like parkour shit on these big ass like pipes and tubes and shit. Like,
well, what
sticking out of the
happened
ground.
is
Parkour.
it was open, but people would climb up, and there were several deaths
Oh,
from
yeah.
people falling off of
Yeah.
it. As you can imagine, people drunk,
Half
and
of them
stoned
caught on
and
High school
YouTube videos.
cleaners.
there. Yeah. So after that, they fenced it off. So the industrial parts are still there, these big old tanks and stuff, but you can't just climb on them like you used to be able to.
A shame though. A shame, really.
And these aren't
Yeah,
like
shame.
have been preserved and made into works of art. It's a pile of rust.
Yeah.
Big fucking pipes and stuff.
15-foot chain link fence and barbed wire on top.
Yeah.
Wasn't it shown a couple times in the movie Singles? Did they show Gasworks? Like there was a couple scenes
Yes,
there?
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
also in the 1976 transportation sports room.
Oh,
yeah,
good
nice.
one. Yeah,
Good
good
call.
Nice reference. Yeah. Also
It's
in
one of
the Mother Love Bone song, Star Dog Champion, that's in Gasworks Park. So
Nice. So yeah, this gas plant we're talking about from 1906 to 1956, the Seattle Gaslight Company operated a
Wait. Seattle Gaslight Company?
Seattle Gaslight Company.
Gaslight
like we're
Company.
gaslighting
We're
you,
gaslighting
Jeremy.
you, motherfuckers.
It was called a
Before it was a
gasification
thing.
plant, and its remnants are what you all just described, a big pile of rust. Historically, I'm going to skip that shit, yawn. Uncle Lou, tell us more about coal gasification. Okay,
Gasification. That's what
I'm
that's what
skipping
my
that
wife
part.
calls it.
that's way better than what I had. At some point, this will get interesting. The city of Seattle bought the place in 1962, 6 years after it shut down, and their plan was to make a gas plant a public park, right?
What an idea.
Now, if those words I said before, like coal gasification, make it sound like the joins the heavily polluted Superfund fight,
It is,
site,
which it is.
totally is.
Yeah.
The soil and groundwater were heavily contaminated. It required cleanup.
Hey, let's have public events there. It'd be awesome.
So they started the cleanup in 1971, and by 1975, it was open to the public and clean as a whistle, based on 4 years of 1970s environmental remediation technology.
Other than the Native American burial ground.
Do you buy that?
Yeah.
Bob, would you eat some vegetables that were grown in Gasworks Park?
No. Hard no.
Hard no. So yeah,
But I'd smoke some pot that was grown there.
Hard yes.
yeah. If you thought it might be polluted, you'd be correct. And at some point, the park came on the radar of the national EPA, and they were like, "We need to do a study of that place." And then they were like, "We're not going to red tag it, but you guys got a lot of work to do." Because what they found that was benzene was still leaking out into Lake
Benzene.
Union. Yep.
Maybe ixnay on the yoga get-togethers there, and
Yeah, so they made him do a bunch of cleanup, and they made him do this thing called here's a boring back-to-school item. It's called air sparging, and they literally stick these giant pumps into the ground and pump the park full of air. And all that benzene and gas rises to the top and and evaporates. Yeah, steer clear of the park on Tuesday.
Yeah, right into the environment. Yeah. What could be wrong with that?
And then the stuff that doesn't escape, they just braise the top, take off a couple feet, and plant new grass. And so that's what they did. But this kind of cracks me up. So there are no known areas of soil contamination remaining on the site today.
No known areas.
And then this next sentence, although tar occasionally still oozes from some locations within the site and is isolated and removed.
It's harmless. It's benzene tar, totally harmless. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, FYI, if you step in a puddle of tar, don't worry about it. Just maybe notify the EPA.
I know, it sounds like I'm bagging on it, but this place is amazing.
It's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
There's no place like it in the world.
Another iconic Seattle area.
It was designed by Seattle landscape architect Richard Hogg, and he won the American Society of Landscapers Award for doing this park.
Wait. He won an award for putting a big-ass hill amongst a pile of pipes and tubes and shit?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did repurpose some of it as a playland, like some pipes they painted and put a cover over them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, on the benzene pile. Yeah, got it. Yeah, playground. That's perfect. Yeah, and the guy won an award for that.
Here's something fun for the locals. You know Myrtle Edwards Park? Gasworks is the original Myrtle Edwards Park.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Yeah, she was a city councilwoman, and she spearheaded the project to get Gasworks Park built. And she died in like 1969, and then in 1972, her family asked that her name be removed from the park because they said she never was happy with the fact that they kept so much of the gas plant there. She was like, this is gross. It should be a beautiful...
This is unbecoming.
Yeah. I say, sir.
To the Edwards family name.
Yeah.
I can't say I blame her.
So they gave Her Highness the boring-ass park in Belltown. And that's Myrtle Edwards Park.
Still
now.
a cool park, though. That's a cool park.
Yeah. And if you're not totally bored yet, have you guys heard of the reality show The Amazing Race?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Gasworks was the finish line for season 3.
Yes, that's right.
And the starting line for season 10.
Go binge that shit. Check out the park.
That's right. And that kite hill, I felt stupid when I found out it was man-made.
Oh yeah.
Normally
that's what I'm saying. The guy won an award for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing park. And we still haven't gotten our pizza yet. Maybe we'll knock it on the head, and if it comes, we'll come back and give you a pizza report.
Yeah, that's a good
follow-up part 2 episode where we would grade the pizza.
All right, you guys ready to knock it on the head?
Yeah, before we do, so Cynthia, do you have any upcoming events or any projects you're working on that you want to shout out?
Yes, please.
Let our listeners know about?
Folks just want to check out Vanishing Seattle on Instagram.
We'll have links on our page.
Yeah.
I just started just interviews and updates and stuff that's vanishing. Also, keep an eye out for the second series of the Vanishing Seattle short documentaries.
Which I am really looking forward to.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Those are awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to do neighborhoods, resources. So, yeah, hoping to release that sometime this year. And,
Yeah, an I-5 thing.
oh, yeah, there's that radio exhibit on I-5 that's coming out in the spring. Also, yeah, we're going to Vanishing Seattle podcast right now. So,
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, there are other podcasts? Oh.
yes, we're really close, hotel
Awesome. Awesome.
You don't even have to be from Seattle to reach out.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining
Yes,
us
thank you,
tonight. This
Cynthia.
was awesome to have you here. It seemed very appropriate. See, this is the last
Awesome
hurrah
tie-in.
before they close
Yeah,
shop.
awesome
So,
tie-in.
yeah. Please do. Yeah.
In the Admiral District.
Oh, another institution.
You got to talk Bob
Another
Sag now.
institution.
He's
Yeah.
West Seattle
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
No, I just eat there as a kid, going there like after, games and stuff. So yeah, it was a great place.
It is a great place. Good pasta.
Great pasta. Yeah, a long time.
Tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
We clearly have some more pizza to eat.
Oh,
More pizza to eat, more episodes to record. Damn.
you want to do an episode there tomorrow?
Yeah.
I've never been there.
When it rains, it pours. Sadly.
Well, we're looking forward to Big Mario's coming in here and keeping the flag going for Northlake Pizza Tavern.
I can anticipate a follow-up episode, maybe season 14, 15 or something. We come back in Big Mario's and see how they did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
we'll
We'll
report
come
back.
when Mario's has
Yeah.
got some
What do they have on tap?
grit under their fingernails. A few arrests, maybe.
There you go.
Nice.
We will be super judgy.
All right. Yes, thank you again, Cynthia Brothers, for joining us.
Yes,
this was
thank
an
you.
amazing episode. As you can hear, the difference between when we started this at 5:15
get a little
and
crazy up in here.
6:30 when people have had a couple
Things are getting
pops.
lively.
Getting a
Yeah.
little crazy up in here.
It got loud enough where someone could hear the jukebox and like, hey, turn up the jukebox, and then everyone else got louder. So as you can hear by the background noise, this place
Yeah.
is popping off right now. So we're going to pop off the mics. We might talk to you again if some pizza shows up. If not, Satan's Pilgrims, take us out.